Coming early and your girl is the latest, and she's saying that she's down, but the crib always vacant, and you do $1 worth, but it's pennies that you making, and you trying to be the greatest. You gotta get creative when you from the side of town where the kids hardly make it, and you try to ease your mind, but the pigs always hating, and your freedom's on the line, and it's years that you facing, and you trying to be the greatest. You gotta get creative.
All right, we here. First episode. What's the Remedy podcast? This is Dr. J, whatever you want to call me, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, we'll go around the table, kind of introduce ourselves.
Yeah, it's your boy, Mr. Wash. You know what I'm saying? Anybody needs to know that? You know what I'm saying? We're going to leave it there.
Yeah, Mr. Wash.
Special guest here, Big Chris.
All right, Chris, man. All right, so basically this is the first episode, dog. So what this is going to basically be about, I kind of want to just kind of, we're going to go around and kind of introduce ourselves, let you know who we are. So, you know, since you, for your listening experience, we know who is who. And I'll start with myself since I'm talking on the mic already. I call myself Dr. J because basically I'm not a doctor. Let me get that clear from the jump. Let me go ahead and get that clarified before I even go any further. I'm not a doctor, but I am a licensed therapist. I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. You know what I'm saying? I'm basically here just to try to get this word out to the people of, you know, the things that you need to know about mental health, wellness, everything, especially to the men, black men like ourselves. All right. So go ahead and let Mr. Wash kind of introduce himself.
All right, yeah, man. It's Mr. Wash. Like Dr. J talking about. You know what I'm saying? Houston, Texas, born and raised. Also, big shout out to PAT. You know what I'm saying? Trill, Texas, Port Arthur. Yeah. Got to represent that. You know what I'm saying? Family, friends, that area. Just somebody on here just want to talk, want to get my thoughts out there in the world. There's a lot of stuff in this world that needs to be talked about and discussed, especially in the black male community. So I just wanted to give my insights, you know what I'm saying? We're giving that real perspective out there.
Hey, what's up? This is your boy, Big Chris, man. You know, I'm here via oldheadsradio.com, and these guys reached out to me, and they wanted to start their own show, What's the Remedy? And I want to thank you all for inviting me to be your first guest.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. You know, and I like what they're doing. I like what the show's about. And so I wanted to help them get it off the ground. And it's, you know, because there's a lot of good information you're going to get from this show, man. So, yeah.
Definitely. We got Big Chris out here. He's basically our technical advisor right now.
Pretty much.
Taking care of everything technical that we need because he puts this shit together, man. Oh, that's the other thing. Real quick. Now, there's going to be some explicit language throughout the show. I mean, because at the end of the day, like we are who we are, and so you're gonna hear the word nigga, and you're gonna hear some
probably a lot.
You probably gonna hear nigga a lot. You're gonna hear some explicit language. You're gonna have stuff like that, but it's because you know we just want this to be as real as possible because we want to have honest conversation basically about everything that we kind of that just men need to talk about that we kind of don't. You know what I'm saying? So like this will be our outlet for that. All right. So with that, I kind of want to get into kind of why we even got into podcasts in the first place. And I'll start with myself. Me personally, I didn't know what a podcast was. A few months ago, like I used to see the podcast app on my phone, and I think I actually deleted that app off my phone because I was like, I don't even know what a podcast is. I'm finna delete this shit. I ain't finna fuck with it anyway. And then, like, so my gal was like, hey, and a gal, if you don't know what a gal is like a girlfriend. But, like, so my gal was like, oh, there's this podcast over blah, 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 blah. And that's what she listened to while she at work, while she working and stuff. And I was like, well, let me see what this is. So I re-downloaded the app and everything. And I was like, oh, this is what a podcast is. It's just people talking. Like, it's talk radio. And the funny thing is, I actually like talk radio. Like, I'm one of the few niggas in the world probably that would sit up and listen to AM radio, NPR, and shit like that. Like, even when I was, like, younger, like, I like to listen to niggas talk. Like, I like listening to politics. I like listening to discussions. All that shit was cool with me. So, like, when I found out about podcasts, I was like, shit, that's me. That's me right there. I can sit up and listen. I sit up and listen to podcasts and talk back to them and everything. Right? So, when I found out what a podcast was, I was like, man, I gotta get kind of into this. What about you, Mr. Wash? What you know about podcasts?
Man, I'm about the same way. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you listen to like a lot of AM stations, whatever. I was always big listening to a lot of sports AM radio, a lot of discussions because listen to the FM. Like I say here in Houston, 97.9, 93.7. You get sometimes where the same song comes on 2 or 3 times within a 30-minute span. So, you know what I'm saying, you want to listen to something else. So I'm a big person, like discussions, like conversations. So I'm a big AM person. When it came to podcasts, I really wasn't on podcasts till probably about a year ago, maybe 6 months to a year ago. I'm a Breakfast Club fan or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying, I was listening to podcasts, like a couple podcasts I have on my YouTube channels, whatever, subscribe and listen to. Brilliant Idiots, Charlamagne the God, Andrew Schultz. Tax Season 1 was on by Tax Stone. You know what I'm saying? Also, just on some other stuff too. I also listened to Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith and Mike Bernard. And you know what I'm saying? When you want to find out what's going on in the movie world, things of that nature.
White people shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? White people. Hey,
white people shit.
Hey, Mike Bernard, a black dude.
Hey,
he a black dude though. You know what I'm saying? We want to find out what's going on and stuff like that.
Like, Kevin Smith, white dude.
Yeah. Hey,
like
man.
That. I like that though. I like that shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be diverse. You know what I'm saying? So you just listen to different kind of discussions. Like I said, I am a big personal conversations. Like I say, I deal with politics. I want to watch MSNBC, stuff like that, CNN, just to kind of see what's going on in the world. So having that outlet, and like doing this podcast, so that's why we call the podcast What's the Remedy? Because we all are dealing with something out here in this world, and we all need some kind of prescription, something to make us feel better to get through our days.
Definitely.
So that's why we want y'all to come, the listeners to listen in. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can't touch everybody, but a few people we can touch, whatever, help you get through your days, and you know what I'm saying, keep this world moving. You got something to say, Chris? Something on your mind?
I mean, you know, I'm just enjoying the ride right now. You know, I don't want to run down my resume.
Run down. Hey, because we got Big Chris here again, you know what I'm saying? Old Heads Radio, you know what I'm saying? Y'all check that out, you know what I'm saying? He got a lot of stuff going on. So go ahead and tell the people what you're doing.
Give a brief synopsis or something.
Yeah.
Well, me, you know, the way I got into the podcast business was, you know, I've been in radio, terrestrial radio, for 10 plus years. I worked at all the big stations out here in the city of Houston. And it just came to a point where 2 of my mentors approached me when about a year ago, actually, and they was just like, hey, we're going to start this show up. And I knew nothing about the podcast world. And, you know, now that I'm in it, you know, I've learned a lot. You know, like, it's the next, you know, it's the way everything's going now.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the digital era. So I'm just, you know, I'm excited for the direction, you know, everything's going in. I'm excited for this show. And let's go.
Definitely, I feel that.
Man, so let's go ahead and dive into it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we gonna kind of give it. Shit,
I
broke something.
Broke some.
Oh, it's not true.
Oh, we good.
All right. Anyway, oh shit, that was funny though.
We'll fuck it up.
Anyway, yeah. So basically, we're gonna kind of talk about why we got into this particular podcast. Like he said, this is What's the Remedy. So basically, what this podcast is all about is kind of we trying to make a podcast that kind of combats the idea that, you know, there's this toxic masculinity out there in the world, you know, that all men are like evil and nobody really knows the reason for it. Not saying that it's excusable, anything that goes on in the world, but there's things that we need to explore as men to kind of combat this toxic masculinity or this idea of toxic masculinity. So on the show, we're going to cover a whole bunch of topics, just some random stuff like me and Wash been talking about, kind of like just simple fact of, you know, men can't judge other men. You know what I'm saying? Rape culture. There's a big thing on Twitter. It was a whole discussion before about rape culture and, you know, how men are like informed in this way to just, you have to kind of teach men not to rape was one of the conversations. Men don't believe in mental health. Men aren't really vulnerable with each other.
Yeah, what other stuff men are really paying attention? There's just people in general paying attention out here in the world. You know what I'm saying? What kind of real news are you taking in versus all this fake stuff that's going around? Right.
So basically, we're gonna break the show up into like about 5 or 6 segments. Every week, we're gonna kind of break the show up into some segments. We always gonna introduce, you know, kind of, you know, because we trying to be close. We trying to be as vulnerable as possible on this podcast. That's one of the main things that men are lacking in general, is that, you know, we don't have that vulnerability all the time. We're not able to just be open with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things we're going to start off every show with is just an introduction. I'm going to check with Mr. Wash. He's going to check with me. You know what I'm saying? We're going to check and see how everybody's week has been going and that kind of stuff. So the beginning of the show always going to be an introduction. Second part of the show, we always want to get into what we call the What Y'all Lying About Today segment. All right? Because
be lying.
Yeah, everybody know they be lying. And what the main thing about the What Y'all Lying About segment, it's basically going to be what's going on the Twitter streets. You know what I'm saying? Because on Twitter is always full of extravagant stories.
Lying ass people.
Yeah, basically lying ass people on Twitter and telling their stories and then having full discussions over their lives, basically. So we're gonna have a whole topic on that. Then the next thing we're gonna talk about is gonna be, we're gonna get into some serious shit too. One of the serious shit we're gonna get into, we're gonna call this segment Check Yourself. What we call this Check Yourself? What we gonna talk about on Check Yourself segment?
Man, we talk about a lot of stuff. Like we talking about the mental health issues, just the health issues in general. Stuff that you need to kind of be up on. Like if you a man in your late 30s to mid 40s, something like that, you need to get a prostate exam. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait on stuff like that. Because if you really look at the world today and society today, people are dropping dead at a very fast rate because they're not staying up on their health. I know one of the big debates in the real world, the real news is like the healthcare issue and stuff, because we all do need healthcare, because with all these different processed foods that we put into our bodies, you know what I'm saying, all the different things that's going around, our health ain't the same what it used to be. So we have to do different things here and there to go ahead and combat that.
Yeah, and we definitely going to be just discussing a wide array of just health-specific topics, because I know that there's a lot of health things that everybody kind of needs to talk about. So that whole segment is basically going to be centered around checking on those types of things. I know that even things that we don't even think does affect your health tend to affect your health. Right. Like just the things you go through on a daily basis. Work is stress. Stress is like a major health issue, and people just kind of overlook it. So we're going to try to touch on all of that kind of stuff while we kind of talk about and it's going to be real ass conversation. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be some real ass conversation. All right. So after that, we're going to kind of jump into basically our sports segment. We're going to call it halftime, because this is how we split up the deep shit. All the heavy shit is going to be split up. We're going to break down into some sports shit, and that's going to be my nigga Wash. So what's the halftime segment going to be like?
Halftime is going to be talking about, you know, saying things that's going on locally, sports world, anything that's going on nationally, in the major sports. You know, you got your, you know, saying we here in Houston, so you know, saying everybody big football fans, Texans. Everybody, you know, saying happy about Deshaun Watson. You know, saying the future, the Messiah for our franchise.
The second coming.
The second coming. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Then you also got like the Astros headed towards the playoffs. We got to talk about that. Rockets finna start up. And not just talking about just local things, but national things. What LeBron doing? What all the athletes got going on right now. So it can be local, but we're gonna talk about national things too.
Definitely. I'm thinking Cavs in 6, dog. I'm thinking Cavs in 6 on the Eastern Conference Finals now, like, at least.
As long as those two cat killer brothers don't win, I'm good.
All right. So anyway, so after we get, you know, we get a little break from the realness, from the deep shit. We're gonna kind of break into some what we call real news. We're gonna call it the real news because, you know, y'all president call it the fake news. So we're gonna try to make sure we keep some real shit going on the national, international level. Because the other thing we notice is, niggas don't watch the news no more.
Oh, nah. Niggas don't watch the news. Niggas don't vote.
No.
Niggas barely know who your president is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Let alone know who the mayor of Houston is, or your mayor, or your city councilman. You know what I'm saying? Or who's in the Senate, whatever. Because why? Niggas don't vote. And niggas don't pay attention.
Especially local politics and shit. Niggas don't pay no attention to none of the shit that's going on. Niggas don't know the laws in their own area, so how the fuck they gonna know what the president doing?
And that's where it really counts. That's where it really matters. Your local government.
Yeah, it matters in your local government because your national president, Donald Trump, whatever, is a figurehead. He really doesn't make no decisions, as y'all actually can see. If you actually do pay attention to what's going on, he really doesn't have any control. He basically talks a lot.
And his tweets don't count.
Tweets don't count and everything else. But locally, if you mad about the ticket that you got or this law that you feel like is stupid in your community, well, that is kind of your fault because you can vote on who's the sheriff and who's the judge in your counties and things of that nature. So don't be naive to think that, oh, I'm not voting because I don't like who's at the top of the ticket, because that's really, you know what I'm saying? It matters, but it doesn't matter if that kind of change doesn't immediately affect you like your local elections.
Right. And so that's what we're going to kind of do with that whole segment. When we touch on that, we want to touch on some real shit because, like I said, niggas get their news from Twitter. Niggas get their news from Facebook, but nobody really watches the news. Nobody reads. Nobody really checks on, you know, their local laws and stuff. So if we see something that we see is important for us, especially, us men, black men, and in the Houston area especially, if something comes up in our area, we want to make sure the people know. And, podcasting is probably the best place to do it because niggas just going to listen to this on the smooth tip, like on the low. So, like, you be able to hear it and kind of relate those things back to what you need to know.
Yeah, because like on real news topics and stuff, like today is September 29th, 2017. Hurricane Maria hit like 10 plus days ago. Mm-hmm. Do you know that boys still dying in Puerto Rico right now?
Yeah, Puerto Rico living bad right
Puerto Rico ain't got no power on the island. 95% of the island doesn't have any power.
Yeah, that's sad.
You know what I'm saying? And the hurricane was 10 days ago. Yeah. And the president still hasn't came out there.
Dog, we got people from like that sending their private jets out to help Puerto Rico, and the president ain't sent nobody. That's what's so crazy to me, dog.
To talk about like saying the real news and fake news, and it kind of tied into like what boys be lying about, like with the Twitter thing. I seen a comment yesterday. Some young lady, white young lady, was asking, what is J-Lo doing for Puerto Rico? You know what I'm saying? Why she not doing something in Puerto Rico? And then somebody politely corrected her and told her J-Lo spent $1 million to help donate towards Puerto Rico. Right. Her rebuttal to that was, well, was it her money or was it money that she raised? And then somebody else rebuttal to that was like, no, it was her money. So this young lady couldn't let it go. Her next response was, well, if I was J-Lo, I would donate $6 million.
You ain't got $6 million.
You ain't got $6. But
it's easy to spend everybody else's money.
It's very easy to spend everybody's money. But my point with that is how fake news is that some people are just never satisfied. Like pretty much she was presented with facts, but yet and still she's gonna stay into her lie or stay in her own mindset of, well, this person could have did more, or this person do this or do that. Basically, nothing was ever going to be good enough for this person. So what mentally is wrong with people out there in the world like that? You know what I'm saying? These are the kind of topics that we do need to talk about, because some people, you do have to bash them over the head with facts and knowledge and research to basically get them to conform. Even though the way the world is working right now, that doesn't seem like it's happening at all. But we got to do our best to basically combat ignorance with facts.
I agree, huh? Like that's what we about on here, dog. We're gonna give you some real facts, some real news, so that you kind of understand what you're missing out on, dog. Because everything ain't on Twitter. And the other thing about the real news is, the reason we got to call it real news is because one of the things that you see on like Facebook, and Facebook is probably the worst culprit of this. I mean, Twitter does it too, but Facebook is definitely the worst when it comes to like fake news stories. You know what I'm saying? And it's always older people too. Like, cause like my mom and them friends, they be on there and talking about hey, did y'all see that such and such happened? I'm like, mama, dog, that didn't happen. It like that's not real. Oh, yeah. Like somebody, cause the thing is with social media, you can make something up, and as long as enough people retweet it, it's facts. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's facts as long as enough people believe it. If you have the right follower count, you could say the sky is falling, and people are going to be like, oh, shit, did you hear that the sky was falling? I mean, yeah, I seen the tweet, but I mean, shit, everybody just retweeting the same tweet. So, like, you can make up news, and it's going to be legit because people hear it everywhere.
I mean, we in the world of followers, a hot...
Exactly.
We following this person. So
we in the world of people thinking the earth is flat.
Yeah. People really believe the earth is flat.
And people, we in the world of people starting GoFundMes to prove that the world is flat.
Dog.
You know what I'm saying? Why?
I would never think that I'd be in the age where like grown people were saying that the earth was actually flat, like for real flat.
I'm like, what is a satellite image?
No, like it's crazy, dog.
It's ridiculous.
Man, it's getting me off topic, dog. Hold on. let me finish what the last. Okay, so after we get to real news is one of our segments. Our last segment, dog. For every week, this is what we're going to try to do is I want to, because we're worried about the health of everyone. We want everybody's mental health to be in check. We want your physical health to be in check. The last segment of every week is going to be our woosah moment. Now, if you've seen Bad Boys 2, you know what woosah means. You know what I'm saying? Woosah.
Yeah, you got to take that deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe in the positivity, breathe out the negativity.
Meditate a little bit.
Woosah. That's what you need right there. You need a woosah moment every once in a while to kind of get your positivity up. Now, we want to get your positivity up. We want to make sure that you leave this podcast with something to think about, something to get you through for the next few days, so that you can move on to the next level.
Yeah, you got to feel good about yourself. What's that? On the old Saturday Night Live or the Pat segment, whatever. It's like, I'm smart, I'm attractive, and damn it, people like me.
There you go. Get yourself,
get yourself a pep talk in the morning.
Give yourself a mantra, dog. Give yourself a quick phrase that you say every morning. You know, you smart, you kind, you worth something. You know what I'm saying?
You smart, you kind, and you are important.
You are important.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Get up, you know what I'm saying? If you're a dude, you know what I'm saying? You're not feeling, you know what I'm saying, yourself, get dressed up or whatever. Feel dapper. You know what I'm saying? Get real dapper. Look in the mirror and say, man, I'm killing boys today.
Get your best cologne on one time. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Not too much, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to drown in it. But you know what I'm saying? That nice little spray on yourself, whatever. Somebody's like, oh, what you got on? You know what I'm saying? Take that compliment and ride with it.
When the hoes hug on you a little bit, they be like, oh, you smell good.
Yeah,
That's what you want right there.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little something I picked up.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying? That you end your day on a positive note.
Yeah, get yourself something positive. So what we want to do is, at the end of the day, at the end of the podcast, every week, we want to kind of end with a woo-saw moment. That's basically our segments. We're going to introduce it. We're going to hit y'all with what's happening on Twitter, what niggas is lying about on Twitter. Then we're going to get you some real health moment. You know what I'm saying? Get you some things to help you think about to make yourself better. We're going to hit you with some sports. We're going to hit you with some news. And then we're going to hit you with the last thing always to bring you back to that positivity. We want to end so that everybody's moving in a positive direction by the time you get done listening to this. So when you're done listening to this, you should be feeling better. That's my goal by the end of this. And maybe that's the counselor therapist in me, you know what I'm saying? That my goal at the end of the day is to make sure that you're positive. You know what I'm saying? That you come out of this thing on top of everything. But what the main thing I want everybody to understand, especially because I'm in therapy and like I said, we just really, me and Watch two real niggas, dog. We got my boy Big Chris here too. Like, we just real niggas, dog. But at the end of the day, like, I'm still a therapist. So I do actually work with people, and I want people to make better on their lives.
Yes, the world is filled with people that you have to adapt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can get on this podcast, we can talk about some real nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? But also we can be professional because we're all professional men here, sitting here. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to be a well-rounded person, especially in this day and age. So it's all about adaptation.
And I think it was W.E.B. Du Bois, I think, had something where it's like called the duality of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And so it's the idea that you can be two things at the same time. Right. So, like, me, I'm a nigga at the end of the day. Like, I'm gonna do nigga shit. Like, I cuss, I say nigga a lot. Like, that might be the PV in me. I don't know. But
just had to notice.
Yeah, I say nigga a lot. But at the same time, I can be professional and I can want the best for you, and I want you to grow and develop in the way that you need, in the way that you would see fit. Not even the way that I would see fit, but the way that you see fit. But I need to help you get to that point. And so I'm going to try to get my therapist on in this podcast, but at the end of the day, we're going to have some real nigga conversation.
Pretty much.
That's basically it. We got a real nigga conversation, but I want my target is that even real niggas can listen to this and be like, you know what? I got something out of this today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll know what's going on. All right. But since we here,
well,
since we recording,
pretty much,
you know what I'm saying? Since we own this hoe, we might as well talk about some shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some shit, dog.
Yeah, what's on your mind? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I got on Twitter earlier today, and I ain't been on Twitter much, and you know, I used to be on Twitter, a hit dog holler for those of y'all that don't, you know, that's the Twitter name. Mm-hmm. But I was on Twitter and I seen some shit about basically that, you know, men are trash, and this is a common theme on Twitter. They always say, like, women will be like, "Oh, men are trash," and then they'll give you a whole bunch of examples, of niggas doing shit, and or men are trash is one thing. Niggas ain't shit is the other one.
Yeah.
Niggas ain't shit and men are trash are like growing themes, dog. And I feel like they even have t-shirts. I saw somebody with men are trash t-shirts and they were selling them and they were hype about it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I kind of want to combat with this podcast, dog. What do you think when you hear the term men are trash or niggas ain't shit or any variation thereof?
Well, you know, for me, I hate the generalization of men, especially, you know, when it comes to my black brothers, my fellow black brothers. A lot of people tend to generalize and put us all in one category. Mm-hmm. And that's where that comes from, because something happened to somebody or a few people, they generalize and put us all like, okay, all men are trash. But all men ain't dogs. All men don't, do this. All men ain't thugs. All black people don't do this and do that. It's just the generalization that I have a problem with.
That's true. I feel that.
I'm tired of the justification of it. Because you say all men are dogs, all men are trash. That's your opinion? Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's what's up. But guess what? I feel bad for you.
Right.
Because while you saying all men, you're wearing T-shirts and you party up with your girls, talking, all men are trash, whatever, blah, blah. Well, sweetheart, all these men that are trash that you're talking about, that's the pool of men that you have to pull from. Mm-hmm. So basically what you're basically saying outwardly is you finna pull a trash nigga eventually. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be like, all men are trash, and then you be like, oh, I got me a boo, he is so great, blah, blah, blah. No, he was one of them trash niggas you was talking about.
I feel you. Let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Because while I agree, I hate the generalization. Yeah. Just to get my 2 cents. I hate the generalization. I hate that you say niggas ain't shit, men are trash, all that kind of stuff. And I know me, myself, personally, I'm not. However, like my nigga Franklin from My Wife and Kids. However,
yeah.
However, I will say that each one of us knows niggas that we know personally that ain't shit.
I agree with that. I know a lot of niggas that ain't worth shit. True. But with that also being said, there's a lot of men that ain't shit, but a lot of women like those men because those men have some kind of an edge to them, a little bit of a griminess to them. You know what I'm saying? Because all women that I have came in encounter with and discussed with, they want a man that, you know what I'm saying, on top of his stuff, whatever case may be. But you also want that kind of rough around the edge kind of dude that's going to make you feel safe. Mm-hmm. That kind of protector. That dude that feel like if y'all got into some stuff, he going to slap somebody, you know what I'm saying, in your honor or whatever. He going to defend you. He ain't going to take no shit.
Right. How dare he treats me right and don't hit me and treats me with respect.
I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. I'm not going to touch that.
But say just that a guy has to have an edge. So with men out here today, it's like we have to walk a fine line. Mm-hmm. You have to be that educated brother handling your business, as well as you got to be that grimy nigga, ready to handle your business in another sense, whatever the case may be, just to feel that excitement. Because if you are just one or the other, if you're too grimy, then they're like, oh, I can't mess with you because you might be up in jail, blah, blah, blah. If you're really educated brother and that's really all you're about, oh, well, he's too nice. He's too soft. He has too much going on. He don't have no time for me.
Too soft. That's the
you know
word
what I'm saying? Yeah, you're too soft, whatever. Or like you say, you got your hands on a lot of different things. They're like, oh, he has no time for me. Even though all the things that you're doing is to progress, hit himself and you to make a better life.
It almost seems like when they do come across a good dude that they find that reason to put him in a two something category. That's what I'm gonna call it, the two something.
Friend zone.
Yeah.
Oh, the friend zone. We can talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be your boy Quentin off of Insecure.
Yeah, hold on. We're gonna dial it back. We're gonna pull back on it a little bit. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Yeah. So like we said, we all know niggas that ain't shit, and we know that a lot of women are attracted to some niggas that ain't shit just because of their personality. Because the thing about it ain't like. And I hate this. Like I said, I hate the term. But the thing about ain't shit niggas is that, you know, a lot of niggas, and granted, each one of us has had our ain't shit moment.
Got to. You gotta have one.
At least one or two.
I know I've been there.
Yeah, everybody been there at least once or twice. But, like, the thing about being ain't shit is that, like, it puts you at a level of confidence. And that's what's attractive to women.
Yeah.
Like, because niggas that ain't shit, they know that they ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in our ain't shit moments, we, like, that's probably when you were at your peak of confidence. It's like, I'm ain't shit. I'm fucking with all these hoes, whatever, because, nigga, I'm the shit. Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to.
Right.
Like, so ain't shit niggas have a confidence or an air about them that a lot of women are going to be attracted to.
Oh, yeah.
So, I would say that I understand. I understand that, like, you know, some women are going to be, you know, attracted to that kind of thing, I guess. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think that it's always on them. And like I said, I'm just trying to kind of play devil's advocate here.
Because you got to, because it's both sides to every discussion.
There's two sides to it, though.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're saying, when you're talking about something, there's always three sides or whatever. But,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In most discussions, it's always going to be, you can't just go in like, oh, yeah, women are blah, 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 this and that. You know what I'm saying? Men, we make a lot of our own problems. Mm-hmm. And first step is actually admitting that there's a lot of great women out here. And one of the biggest issues is there are so many women and so little male presence that's actually doing something out here that I do feel bad for women because the pool that you're choosing from is very small.
Very, very slim, dog.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas back in the day, if you got you a man, that was your man. Y'all did y'all things together. You know what I'm saying? If he had his friends, that was friends that he was really close with, maybe grew up with, and then they kept in contact through phone calls, that nature, whatever case may be. You know what I'm saying? Even if he had female friends. Now, if you're not doing something right as a woman, everybody posts everything on social media. Exactly. So everybody knows everybody's lives. If something's going right, something's going wrong. Mm-hmm. And all those women that man used to mess with that he might not even talk to anymore, guess what? They slide in DMs, just like men slide into the women's DMs. Mm-hmm. And now you basically just a mouse click away from us hooking up. Versus I might can't see you if I graduate from high school with you. I might not see you until 10 years at the reunion. Now I can see you tomorrow. I can see you tonight.
So what you're saying is basically what has increased the ain't shitness of niggas is accessibility.
Pretty much.
Right.
And you know what? And that kind of brings me to like a theory that somebody has had before. I don't necessarily agree with this theory because I don't think that I fit in this category.
Yeah.
But like they've always said that men are as faithful as their opportunities.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like a nigga would be fucking with one girl because that's the girl that wants him, he wants her, that's who he fucking with. You know what I'm saying? But like there could be like a nigga like that's, you know, suave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he got a whole bunch of women and everybody knows he got a bunch of women. So like when he fuck with one of them, it's not that he can't get some more. So like if the opportunity presents itself that somebody else he may want is out there and they talking about it, then he gonna go ahead and capitalize on his opportunity.
Yeah.
So the theory is, and like I said, I don't agree with this theory, but the theory is that a man is only as faithful as his opportunities. So do you agree with that?
You go ahead first.
I'm gonna say yes and no.
Okay.
I guess because, you know, with me, I was with this girl. You know, I was with her for a while, and you know, she was cool, but she wasn't faithful. But, you know, I stayed faithful. But then it came to a situation where that was the only person I was messing with at the time. But then I got presented with another opportunity, so to speak. And I took that opportunity. Hence to say we're no longer together. But I took that opportunity, and, you know, man, it is what it is. So
I feel it.
I believe, just like, you know what I'm saying, Chris was saying, yes and no. Because each individual person has their own motivation or different factors in their lives. Mm-hmm. Like some are driven by opportunities. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm with this girl here, but this other one is maybe she got a little bit more going for her in her own life, whatever. Maybe she presents certain things to you that this other one doesn't. So, you know what I'm saying? Opportunity is there to move around. Other people might be driven by fear. You could be with somebody and you be like, I really love my girl. And it's not you with her because, oh, I love her so much and I'm with her. You know what I'm saying? She's my moon and all this other stuff. But you can be driven by a fear of, I don't want to mess with somebody else because, hey, STDs are prevalent, bigger than ever nowadays. Having a kid with somebody else.
A lot of people get comfortability.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Being comfortable, whatever. Yeah, you're being comfortable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Out of fear. And it'll be like, hey, some people don't mess around because they have the fear that, hey, my situation could be better, but it's good. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you weigh your options like that. But each person has their own little factors of what they're driven by. Whether it's fear, opportunity, lust, whatever the case may be. Everybody has their own different individual triggers that make them do what they, you know what I'm saying, want to do.
Yeah. I mean, and I agree with that. And I guess, yeah, we'll leave it at that. I was going to say that the only thing I was going to say about that was that like you said, it's a fear. Like people stay with people because like there's this fear of, you know, the game. Yeah. Because the game is fucked up right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would never, I'm happy to be out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the game is not in a good position right now. Like, you can't be out, like, being single in the game right now from the outside looking in, because I don't know. But from the outside looking in, like, it looks like it's a stressful. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, niggas in relationships are like, man, I don't want to be back out in that. Like, people are screenshotting your DMs and, like, you can't even shoot no more.
Trust, I broke off an engagement last year, so I'm back in the game recently. And trust me, it ain't what it used to be. Not at all.
Like, you can't even shoot. Like, you can't shoot in the DMs. You can't shoot text messages. Like, any of your private conversations can become public at a tweet's notice. Dog. Like, your private conversation, hey mama, I'm just trying to see what's good with you, could be viral by tomorrow.
It's all shaky grounds because, like you say, you look at the game about being single. You be like, I don't want that. I don't want to be single because, like you say, you're lonely. You're dealing with stuff, or like you say, you're shooting at people, and they want to put your business out there on social media and all this other stuff. But then at the same token, on the other side of it, you talk to a lot of people in relationships right now, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, I love my wife or my husband and or my boyfriend, blah blah blah, everything is good. Then the next time we talk to them, don't do it to yourself. Run. Yeah. If somebody telling you something, run. Don't do that to yourself. You don't want to move in with that person.
You dodge the bullet.
Yeah, you dodge the bullet. You don't want to do that. So it's kind of like, if you are a single person out here in this world, you are in a really screwed up place because either direction, you don't know if it's the right direction. So the only thing you can really do is basically take a risk. You know what I'm saying? Everything in life is a risk. With that job that you're not too sure about, offer you take, the girl or guy you talk to, everything's a risk. And sometimes sometimes the risk is worth the reward. And if you mess it up, hey, you know what I'm saying? But go ahead and try again. But you got to have that confidence in yourself to be like, hey, it's not the end of the world, and I do have the opportunity to do something else.
I feel you, Mr. Wash. Like that's pretty much the gist of everything as far as that goes. I mean, we got kind of off the men are trash, niggas ain't shit topic, but at the same time, it kind of ties back in. Because of the simple fact that, like, when you talk about the men are trash, niggas ain't shit, a lot of that shit ties back to the fact that niggas are like, the game is rough. You know what I'm saying? The game is tough. And so, like, you niggas are trying to stay ahead. Yeah. And so and it goes into vulnerability. I won't get too deep into it because, you know, my therapist side gonna come out a little bit in this, but it goes into, like, the vulnerability of men. Men don't want to feel vulnerable. So, like, I've said this before on Twitter and shit before, but, like, one of the big things about men is that we don't like to feel vulnerable. So one of our defense mechanisms for feeling vulnerable is to have a lot of hoes. Because if you have a lot of hoes, you ain't never got to get your feelings hurt. Technically.
Right.
You ain't never got to be like, oh shit, I really like this girl. I mean, because you learn that shit in, like, high school. Like, you really like this girl and she dogged you out and you like, oh shit, now I feel some type of way. And I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to feel shit. And so, like, what ends up happening is, like, as you get older, you're like, well, I don't want to feel that way ever again. So I'm never going to be, like, locked in to one person like that again. Because then if I have, like, 3 hoes at least on standby, then I'll be like, oh, this one ain't talking about it? Bet. I got another one lined up anyway. And so, like, yeah, it's an ain't shit mentality. Mm. And you got it. And sometimes you got to grow out of it. Sometimes it takes niggas.
I mean, it can also depend on that person's experience, you know?
True.
Because, like for me, instance, like, my ex, she was an ain't shit woman. You know what I'm saying? And that trust gave me she fucked me up with some trust issues for real. Mm-hmm. And so now, I guess I'm in a place right now where I'm like, okay, I got 1, 2, and 3 lined up because until you can prove to me I can trust you, that's where I'm at with it. Like,
and that's pretty much like we technically didn't get off topic because all this stuff goes back into the same thing,
right? And
it's like I say it again, like risk and reward. Like, if you think every man or woman that you're dealing with is trash, mostly in this conversation we're talking about men, think every man is trash. Well, eventually you have to open yourself up and take that risk that, hey, if maybe this dude is different. You know what I'm saying? Because every dude, like, you have to take in consideration of how somebody approaches you, how somebody talks to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How somebody has a conversation and understands where you're coming from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we've said here, we've all had our trash moments. Well, we know in periods in our lives we've been trash. And every man that you talk to is going to be the same way. But you have to take that risk and step out there. If somebody's coming at you in a proper manner, that, hey, maybe this person really gets it like I get it.
You gotta,
And you gotta be open to that kind of mentality, because if you stay closed-minded thinking everybody is trash, whatever, you're going to be by yourself.
yeah, true. I guess it all comes back to, like, do you think that person's going to be worth the risk of taking that jump for, as far as, you know, can I trust this person? I'm going to go ahead and take that leap of faith and put myself out there. Yeah. That's the scariest part right there, is putting yourself out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like we said, it kind of all ties back into the same thing. Everybody just kind of has to be ready to commit to a person. Like, it's about emotional maturity. You know what I'm saying? Niggas reach emotional maturity at different levels. Women reach emotional maturity at different levels. I know they like to say that, like, they mature faster than us, and they do, in a lot of senses. But there are women that, like, have an ain't shit mentality well into adulthood, just like there are men that have ain't shit mentality shit till they senior citizens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it be niggas be 60 years old still out here trying to run hoes. Like, it's just that's how it is.
True.
No, and like I said, we all gotta be adults about the situation. Ain't nobody no kid, so you gotta be like, if you talking to somebody and it's not working, it's not clicking, you gotta be having an adult conversation to be like, hey, this is not working, and let's mutually decide to let it go, versus keep on dragging something out until somebody hurts somebody, and then now this is a whole trash situation, or this nigga fucking up, or she doing something like that. Why does it get to that level? Why can't we just be adults and have a conversation? And that goes back to our main conversations of being vulnerable, to actually sit down and have a conversation.
I was gonna say that's a whole nother conversation, because just relationships in general, or breakups.
Yeah,
breakups is a whole other conversation, because niggas don't break up. So, like, niggas gonna ride shit out until, like,
till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, they gonna ride shit out till it fades. Like, they gonna find somebody else to talk to. Like, they gonna be in a whole other situation by the time it's over. But if they feel like the shit is dying, they ain't gonna break up. Oh, yeah. But that's, like I said, that's a whole nother topic. Oh, yeah. So, what I'm gonna do now, because we're about 45 minutes into this thing already. So,
time is going fast.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna skip past what I was gonna talk about, because we were gonna talk about the national anthem shit and all that. But we're gonna skip past that for right now. Because I want to get into some real, like, basically the meat and potatoes of what this shit is supposed to be about. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to start with a topic that is important to me. It's important to everyone, because everybody has experienced somebody, like, okay, everybody listened to 444, right?
Yeah.
444 was real shit. Like, that's one of my favorite Jay-Z albums, and it just came out. So, like, 444 touched on a lot of stuff, a lot of vulnerability stuff and things like that. And I watched the interview that Jay-Z had with Rap Radar and things like that. And one of the things he talked about was therapy, and how he started going to therapy. He didn't like therapy at first, but recently he started going to therapy again, and he really liked the therapist that he was with. So my question to you guys, and what we're going to kind of discuss to kind of finish out this podcast for today, is why don't men, especially black men, but why don't men in general reach out to therapy? Because, like, as a therapist, me personally, I see a lot of kids and a lot of women in therapy. But men, especially black men, don't do therapy. So what, from your personal experience, why do you feel like people avoid therapy?
I would say people avoid, well, especially black men, you know what I'm saying, more than just people in general, avoid therapy because, one, they feel like nothing's wrong with them. If you address somebody who's like, hey, maybe you need to go to therapy, what they going to say? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm not going to pay somebody to just, basically everybody's ideal of, I'm not going to pay somebody to go sit on the couch. Right. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for that.
It's that stigma that's in our community about, that something got to be wrong when you go to therapy, For me personally, I know I went to therapy actually this year. I had a lot of life changes, and therapy helped me major, and I was very resistant to it at first. Mm-hmm. But once I went, it helped me so much. Like, sometimes it's good to have somebody that's not connected to your situation whatsoever, just to talk to.
Yeah, because like I said, we being vulnerable, being real. Like I said, I've had plenty of times in my life, I feel fucked up. Right. You know what I'm saying? I still, at times, right now, feel like, oh, I'm fucked up. Because, like I said, a lot of us in the community, whatever, we deal with a lot of things, from pressure from our relationships, our families, our jobs. You know what I'm saying? Where anxiety is be at a high, and I think a lot of times we try to hide it, and you try to hide it behind a smile, or through conversations with people, And behind those smiles, like that perfect picture they have, like with the mask, whatever, you're smiling, but then behind you, you're crying, kind of thing, because inside you don't feel whole. And I think a lot of people out here feel that type of way, but we put on a facade to get through our days. Because a lot of times in our black community, especially black men, you're looked at as the strong figure, as the protector.
There you go.
So you have to be on at all times. You can't show that, hey, this situation really hurt me to the core. You have to be like, I'm strong and I can take on anything on my back.
All right. So now this kind of plays into our whole toxic masculinity thing or fragile masculinity thing. And I don't want to single out the black community like in particular, but at the same time, like I have to say, in your experience, have you noticed that a lot of times in the black community, you like you said, you're looked at as you have to be that strong.
Yeah.
Like, because if you come off as soft, like what is the reaction that you get from people?
Oh yeah. I'm saying, I'm trying to think off the top of my head what people would say, but you know what I'm saying, you a soft ass nigga.
You soft, you soft, you know what I'm saying?
You soft. Look at you, a little bitch.
So
fighting words.
Yeah. But and the thing is, the reason that those are fighting words is because you cannot be soft. You cannot.
Right.
And like me personally, like I don't have this issue because like, okay, so since y'all listening, y'all don't really see me.
Yeah.
But like, I've always been bigger than most of the people that I run across. Like, I've been, an athlete. I play football, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never really had too many fights in my day because all I got to do is say something, and most people don't really want to fight. The thing is, like, when you come off as soft, like, people will exploit that. They will come at you, and they will exploit the fact that they think that you're soft. And so, I think therapy within itself is looked at as something of you being soft.
Yeah.
It's something about you being, oh, you couldn't handle that problem on your own, or even better. Let me swing it back to the black community on y'all real quick.
Swing it on back, man.
All right, so I'm gonna swing it back to the black community real quick. Me personally, I'm a preacher's son. My daddy was a preacher. He was assistant pastor, associate pastor, all that kind of stuff.
Reverend Doctor.
Yeah, Reverend Doctor. You know what I'm saying? So. Like, my daddy was, like, all in the church, and we were in the church my whole life. Like, they talk about, all the comedians talk about going to church every day, all day. That's what we was doing. Like, we went to mission, we went to choir rehearsal, we went to Bible study, like, Monday through Friday. The only day off, no, Saturdays wasn't off, because Saturday we had youth rehearsal. So, like, we had every day of the week, we were pretty much in the church. So, like, the big thing about the black community is you should be able to just pray things away. So even if you're not the strongest, like, because niggas don't like to go to therapy and things like that because it makes you seem soft.
Yeah.
But even like in the black community in general, they don't like therapy because you should be able to pray those things away. God's going to push you through that. I don't want to say I'm against that because I'm still a Christian. I still like to go to church, all that kind of stuff. I'm not against Christianity and praying. Right. What I am against is not seeking help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, the analogy that I was given one time when I was learning to, do therapy and things like that was that if you break your leg, you're not going to sit there and say, God's going to work this out for me. You're going to take your ass to the doctor because you might need some stuff. You need a professional to look at that shit to see what's wrong.
Yeah.
And so the same thing happens inside of your mind. There's some shit that goes wrong and you need a professional to figure it out.
Well, the cosign on that, and like I said, I'm a Christian as well. Like, it's a scripture in the Bible. It's talking about, I forgot who all is dealing with, but it's talking about the guy that was stranded out in the sea on the boat, and he asked God to help him. And he said, a ship came by, and he waved him off and said, you know what I'm saying, don't worry, I don't need the help, God got me. You know what I'm saying? Then something else came by or whatever, and he waved them off too. Don't worry about it, God got me. Or they end up drowning or something like that. He ended up drowning. Going to heaven. Yeah, he ended up drowning going to heaven. And he asked, like, what happened? Like, why he didn't save me? And it was like, well, I sent those other people and those other things to help you and stuff. Just like, you know what I'm saying? He's saying, like, hey, you break your leg, whatever. God has people in place to help you. The doctors, you know what I'm saying? The nurses, everybody's in place to help you. So to sit there and to say, God help me in the situation, God got me with this broken leg or this illness, whatever. He's put things in place to help you. So if you don't go seek the help, then you pretty much just hoping on a prayer. Like, that's not real prayer.
It's so unnecessary.
It's a wish.
Denying the help that he sent.
Yeah, that's so unnecessary to me. Like, if you have people in place, like, even, like, and my thing is, like, when people come to me about therapy and counseling and shit, my thing is, like, if your thing is that you're all about the church and things like that, they have Christian counselors. Like you
Oh,
can
yeah.
go talk to a therapist that is strictly on the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't consider myself that. I don't know if I'm like a backslider or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain
Right,
myself.
right.
I don't know how to explain myself in that instance, but like I'm still a part of the church, but I don't consider myself a Christian counselor because I'm not a person that's going to make it just strictly about that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm the type of person that's going to be like, I mean, yes, I understand that these are Christian values and this is some real world shit that it ties back to. But yeah, so I don't know. That's just my whole thing about therapy. You know what I'm saying? If anybody got any final thoughts on therapy, y'all can have them.
No, I just think therapy is needed. Like, I think we, because like I said, I'm one of those people that was like, hey, you know, again, why do I need to go to therapy? I don't need to go sit on somebody's couch, because the representation of therapy we get from seeing on TV shows and stuff back in the day, where somebody's laying on the couch explaining the stuff, talking about, you know what I'm saying, asking you about your childhood or your mother or things, your father, things of that nature. And I think that's the stigmatism that we all have in our heads, especially in the black community. Mm-hmm. And it's not about that. It's basically just having an outlet. This podcast that we're doing, What's the Remedy, is an outlet for us. This is our own personal therapy. Mm-hmm. To basically get out there to the masses and basically express how we feel, and hopefully a lot of people that's listening feel the same way, to be like, hey, I feel like that too, or hey, I get that. You know, so I've been thinking about that on my mind. So therapy in general is just an outlet to go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, to feel good about a situation or your thoughts, to make sure that, because too much things inside of your own head only leads to destruction.
Yeah.
So you have to get them out some kind of way.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the times they say there's a saying that says at the end of language there's disease.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're not able to vocalize the things that are going wrong with you, you start seeing things going wrong with your body.
Yeah.
You start to see things going wrong with your hair start falling out. You know what I'm saying? You got too much stress, your hair starts falling out. You got a little bit more stress and your liver starts failing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna weigh on you more than you think it is. So it's best to kind of find yourself an outlet, talk to somebody. I encourage people to talk to family members, and this is basically our woosah moment right now. So everybody just say woosah.
Woosah.
Woosah. All right. So this is basically our woosah moment. All right. So I encourage everybody to go talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Get it all out. I highly encourage you to talk to a professional, because just like if you broke your leg, you wouldn't ask your auntie what you should do about it.
Pretty much.
Right. Just like you wouldn't call your auntie and say, hey, auntie, man, my leg feel kind of funny. What should I do? And then your auntie say, oh, put some ice on it, and your shit broke. That it's the same thing with your mental health. You know what I'm saying? So like, you may feel depressed. You feel depression coming on, and like you're feeling depressed and all that. Then you're like, well, I'm gonna call my mama. That's good. I applaud you calling your mama, because just like if you broke your leg, you call your mama. You call her, let her know what's going on, see if she has some advice for you. But then you call a professional. You call a doctor.
The weight of the world can really bear you down. You know, some people get the weight of the world on their shoulders, man. They try to take it all on, and you know, it's just too much. Exactly. And sometimes it's good to have that person that's not connected to your situation that you can just talk to and just kind of, you know, just release, you know.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much this. This is how you need to think about it. A lot of people think about therapy and stuff. I'm not finna pay to listen to no white man or no person tell me nothing, whatever the case may be. You can't think like that. You gotta think like this. If your car breaks down, you're gonna pay X amount of dollars to get it fixed because you need that car. People pay $200 on J's. You pay $60 to $100 on gaming systems and things of that nature, sporting events, whatever the case may be. Things that you want, you spend all these dollar amounts on. It is perfectly fine to invest some money into your own mental health, because if your mind is not running right, your body is not working right, you're not going to do all those other things that you deem important.
You know, another thing. A lot of people, you know, you may not know it, but your job may offer those benefits for free for you to get that free help.
Yeah, EAP. If you work on a job that got any kind of benefits, look into it. See if you got an EAP, Employee Assistance Program, and your EAP it'll at least cover your first 3 sessions. Normally, they give you 3 free sessions, and I'm gonna tell you like this because I work in the field. If you got kids that need counseling, Medicaid will pay for that. Your insurance covers a lot of counseling costs, a lot of therapy costs. Some insurances only cover PhD counselors, which are more expensive. And some of them will cover, a regular therapist like myself. You know what I'm saying? So just check with your insurance. And a lot of your stuff is covered on insurance. At the most, you'll pay like a $20, $25 copay, just like you will when you go to the doctor. So take care of your mental health just like you would any of your other body parts. Your brain is just as important.
Yeah, don't let your pride overrun you. Cause like I say, the boy Jay's over here is a licensed therapist. Big Chris already said he's been to therapy before. I'm looking for a therapist right now because I admit to myself I have a bad issue with anxiety, and I think a lot of people have the same things. Especially everything going on in the world where you're trying to figure out how you're gonna pay this next bill, or how you gonna do this or this job here, things of that nature. All the things weighing down on you. You need somebody to talk to. You need an outlet, and it's not the best way to. It's praying away is not the best way. Drugging yourself is not the best way. Sometimes you just need to vocalize it out to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Preferably a licensed professional, and go ahead and get it out there. You know what I'm saying? It's for your own personal benefit.
All right. So basically, we almost an hour in. So I'm gonna kind of wrap this thing up a little bit.
Wrap it up, B.
Wrap it up, B. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up a little bit. Today, like this podcast today, is just basically a general idea of what the podcast is gonna be about. We just kind of wanted to get y'all acclimated to what we're going to be talking about. It's going to get better. This is a real rough cut.
Yeah,
First show.
Yeah, first show. This is the roughest of the rough drafts.
The roughest of rough drafts.
If you was into this podcast for the first couple of minutes, you heard something break. That's how rough this is.
Yeah. Nigga, we broke a fucking chair.
We're breaking chairs around this bitch.
Yeah, so this is the roughest it's going to get, dog. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to get better. We're going to get our sounds right. We're going to have everything's going to be good. I don't even know what's going to be on this thing. Like,
you know what I'm saying? We going to have, you know what I'm saying, all kind of sound effects, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Some music playing in the background.
Say
ninjas, bolos, you know what I'm saying? People doing Indian burns. It's all going to go down, man. So, hey.
Niggas doing Indian burns. But, yeah, so we're going to keep working. We're going to keep making it better. If you could, you know what I'm saying? Wherever you're listening to this at, leave a comment, leave a rating, let us know how you feel. If all else fails, email us. The email is what'stheremedypodcast@gmail.com. And it's all spelled just like it sounds. What'stheremedypodcast@gmail.com. We're not cool enough for cool spellings and shit.
Yeah, no ebonics in this, you know what I'm saying? Check it out. Like I said, also go to the Twitter page, What's the Remedy? Also, YouTube channel, What's the Remedy Podcast? Or WTR podcast. You know what I'm saying? Check us out.
And we working on websites, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, like I said, we working on this thing, dog. This is real rough right now, but as it continues to evolve, we want the best method possible to get this word out, because we really believe that us because we're black men in here, we need to have these conversations, especially about health, wellness, mental health, and all the things that, the vulnerable conversations that niggas don't normally have. We want to be able to have them in here. So if you could reach out to us, we'll take topics. If you want a topic we want to discuss, hit us up. We'll talk about what you're talking about whenever and we'll shout you out on there too.
We appreciate everybody listening. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, to this roughest of the rough cuts.
The roughest of the rough.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully every week we bring you some good material. You know what I'm saying? Ahead. You know what I'm saying? Only things from this point can get better.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I appreciate y'all having me on for the first cut.
Oh yeah.
I can see the potential, man. This is gonna be big, man. This is gonna be real big, man.
Oh yeah, we appreciate you, Chris, man. Like I said, technical advisor out here. We needed something.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end it on that note, man. I'm gonna go ahead and throw y'all the deuce, man. If y'all need to holler at us, What's the Remedy Podcast @gmail.com. Hit us up, man.
Mama said you better be home when them street lights on. Hey, when the street lights on. Hey, when the street lights on. They ain't doing nothing but wrong. When them street lights on.